So
we're back again. By the way, we'll touch on this at some point, but we did a recap on the deck corrector stuff last time, and if I'm being honest, right, there's not really much more to say about this other than the fact that it won't stop fucking braking because it's, you know, one of those cars. But it's the alternator that's away this time after the power steering rack going away, and then it's a whole thing. Anyway.
You got a nice clean replacement one in.
Yeah, and
Brand
then
new one,
which instantly failed.
which didn't work.
Yeah, so
So that was good.
good clean Japanese fun. But it's time for this. Look, the Spitfire Mark V.
Yeah, we fixed it.
Yeah, fixed it. Look, that's the Spitfire. See, it's a Triumph. It's like the Triumph. It's got a Triumph engine. I mean, it looks nothing like the Spitfire one because we had some modifications. It's been lightly modified from a Spitfire into something completely different. What's the job today?
Points, condenser, rotor arm, cap.
So,
Old school ignition fun.
So for those not in the know, points is what distributors had before they were distributors. So we can jump to some science bit in a wee minute, but what it means is if your points are bad, your engine loses power. That's all you need to know for the moment.
Yeah.
And it was a service item, like you change the oil, you check your brake fluid, and then you set the points up. Every single season this would have to happen.
All British Wayland cars, points, whether it was a Lucas or a Delco distributor. This is a Delco distributor, but points were basically a service item. So every service you'd have to use set points. Condenser, they don't really go wrong, but you can replace them anyway. So got one, may as well do it. Rotor arm, cap, again, could probably be every second service, but we've got them, so we'll do them. The only thing we've already done is ballast resistor, because the original one was the original. So wasn't doing a lot of resisting anymore, and the new coil just because.
Because it's shiny.
Well, there's an interesting story behind this. It originally had a 12 volt coil on it, and this bypassed, which is wrong.
Why is it wrong?
Because British Wayland actually did do some good things.
Right.
So the idea behind this is a 6 volt, well, they call it a 6 volt coil, right? But it'll take like up to 10, no problem. But the idea behind this is, and this little ballast resistor, is when you go to start the car, if you had a 12 volt coil, you go to start the car, battery voltage drops, weak spark. So the idea behind this is 6 volt coil, ballast resistor that takes it down to 6 volts when it's running, but when you start the car, it'll account for the voltage drop. So you'll have about 9 volts, 10 volts at the battery, you'll get 10 volts straight to the coil because it bypasses the resistor.
So it's
you actually
designed
get a stronger spark
It's designed to be 10 volts and it's always 10 volts because of the ballast resistor
when you try and start it.
when you start it,
Yes,
versus when it's not.
When it's running, it drops back down to 6.
Exciting.
So it's actually quite smart. It works well.
Let's get servicing. Right, we're on to wobble cam at this point because there's no way to get a gimbal in here.
Wobble cam, yeah.
Wobble cam.
So in a Dizzy, rotor arm,
Yes.
which does spinny things.
So that
Goes
spins
round
in there and it puts.
each cylinder.
Yeah, that's fairly self-explanatory.
Fairly self-explanatory. High tension leads on the top. Yeah. But so on your fancy modern car, you just get an ECU that tells you what time in advance you want. Well, with this you don't. So how they done it back in the day was set a centrifugal weights with springs. So the idea was you could actually, if you were quite fancy with distributors, you could change these weights, but you could also change the springs.
So the looser the spring, the quicker it will advance or
Yes.
retard, rather.
Yes.
And the heavier the weight, the slower it will do. So yeah, there you go.
Yeah, you basically.
But the faster it'll do so.
control-
Actually, I tell a lie, that's nonsense.
Faster. You control the advance curve of the distributor via how stiff you want to make the springs. But then you also had, when you're at light load, you want more advance. So you've got a vacuum advance back here,
Right.
which is basically a wee diaphragm that, when you've got high vacuum, will actually then advance the whole
The whole unit.
which gives you more advance.
That's tremendously complicated and yet clockwork
Well,
simple.
Yeah, it sounds complex. I'd imagine when they first set them up, it would be very complex to tune one originally, but then once they do it, they just copy and paste and make thousands of them. So the idea of the points is, there's a wee cam on the shaft that rotates and has got basically a cam for each cylinder. Got a wee lump on each cylinder. So this will rotate and actually open up your points.
Despite the fact you've got a rotor cap doing that.
Yes, you also have to discharge the coil, so that's what your points to the switch to set the coil off.
Okay. And then once that coil gets set off, it then sends a spark to a completed circuit through the rotor cap.
Yes, and you also have a condenser back here, and the job of that,
There's no way to see that, but just take our word
Okay,
for it.
there's a condenser here with a wire.
Yeah, okay.
The idea of that is it discharges the magnetic field in the coil quicker, but it also stops the points arcing.
Because
So
if
you
the points
imagine-
arc,
You've only got a 15 thou gap, so that's like 0.38 mil.
yeah.
So you imagine it could quite when it's starting to separate, you could get arcing. So
Yeah.
the idea of
Basically, if you get any spark, it's welding time.
yes, and that's the thing with points. That's what wears. Not only does the gap eventually change as they wear, but the actual electrical contact between the points actually erodes points. Hence why
It's a completely serviceable item and a pain in the fucking arse.
that's what I should do, just show you a set point.
Well, let's do that.
That's set points.
Okay.
Basically a switch.
So we've got 4 of those.
No, just a single set points. That's operated by
4 times by a
yes,
cam.
yes. So you imagine how many times that's opening
Ticking,
and shutting.
ticking away.
Yes, which gets even worse if you've got something like a V8.
Because it does it 8 times.
Like Stags, for instance, with the V8 had a single point distributor,
Yeah.
which would last like 1,500 miles.
And-
Needed
and-
set points.
And
1,500.
that wasn't the biggest problem with the Stag V8 either.
Right, well, we'll go past that. But that's why you got a lot of what the Americans like Chrysler, like the
Twin.
Mopar V8s, they had dual point distributors to try and get rid of
lighten the load and yeah.
Yeah, well, if you split it between two sets of points, then you double the life of the points, don't you?
Yes.
So,
There you go.
Point.
And now you get wasted spark because we've literally got so little points we don't give a fuck anymore. Just make it go twice.
well, that's the thing. I mean, you need to remember this is how it all started off, and then what they done was they done a kind of interim, which was they got rid of the points, put a wee magnetic pickup in there to do the exact same job as the points, but you got rid of one wearable item.
Yeah.
But you still had the problem with rotor arms, gaps.
We could have picked any better car from the 70s to demonstrate this on than the one with the bonnet that opens forwards.
Yes,
Because
and the distributor's buried.
Yeah.
Yeah.
in the back.
So
and
it's a bit annoying because the AC Delco distributor, the weights are on the top, which is not great. So it means that basically to do points and anything else, the weights have to come off, which is annoying, but it gives you an excuse to actually
service them and make sure
And
they're all
break them.
nice and greased and stuff.
Yeah, because if these aren't, if you get sticking on these, then you're going to get problems with timing getting stuck, and you'll have issues just trying to set the timing.
You're dirty, sweet Cadillac on your back, and I love you. You're dirty and sweet, oh yeah. When you're slim and you're weak, you got the teeth of the Hydra upon you. You're dirty, sweet, and you're my girl.
So let's have a look at the old points.
Yes, you see they're a bit grubby looking, but the problem you get as well is the cam actually runs on this bit of plastic, so that wears away. The spring will eventually get softer, but if you look at those contacts, you can start to see
Yeah, they're getting a wee bit kind of
it's
crabby.
going a bit kind of white and yeah, a bit frosty looking. So as you can imagine, you don't want high resistance on that.
Nah, it's not going to be good.
So when you set it, put this in, you'll notice one side's got like a slot in it. So you can nip that one up till it's pretty tight, leave this one back off a wee bit, and you can actually get in. They give you, see if you look down here, there's a little slot in there. So you can get in and you can,
Advance it.
yes,
So that
you
it's
can move the gap.
pointed perfect in contacting exactly where it should be on cam.
15,000.
So we do have a condenser.
Yeah, this is a kind of topic that's come up recently. Is that's a Delco condenser that's in there.
Right.
Doesn't seem to have any signs of failing, so you can get replacements, right? But they say Lucas on the box, but
Is it Lucas?
the quality of them's questionable.
Right.
So this is the next bit. So points are in, but you can see this, the wee cam. We need to basically rotate the engine until we're at the peak of the cam, which we're actually not far off because we can move the advance. No advance rates in, so we can actually rotate it. But I think we need to go a wee touch forward on the car. Nip this screw up a wee touch. And then we can get in, if we have the appropriate sized screwdriver, we can get in and do a wee bit of rotating, which we need probably a wee bit smaller screwdriver, to be honest. As you can see, if you move that, you can make a gap or not make a gap. So we're going to grab some fewer gauges. You got PDO ones?
No,
Of course you
because I have. Because I live in the real world.
3.
0.38 for 15,000. 15,000.
This is 0.4, right? But a lot of time you find with these, when you put the fuel gauge in, you tighten screws,
It nips it a bit higher.
it will get slightly tighter.
Secret tunnel. Oh,
It's a bit of kind of
this is a kerfuffle.
hand gymnastics, but
This is slightly more complicated than putting air in your tyres, which is really the most complex modern maintenance you need to do to a car.
so we tighten these up and we'll just see.
If it starts,
No, we'll just see. It will start.
I'll start, this won't rev.
No, we just need to see that once we tighten them, it doesn't then move again. Because that can happen. Everything kind of gets in the way.
Yeah, just take it to the dealer.
I am the dealer. We've got a bit of resistance, but we're not
It's nipping it.
actually moving the points. See,
There's
when we
drag,
When we pull
yeah.
it back like this, the trick is you don't want to see the points move, which they don't. I have already had these off before to free them off. So as you can see, they drop on very nicely, which they did not.
Right, let's see you get the springs on without losing them.
The good thing is when these ping, they really ping.
Yeah, you're in danger of losing it, right?
The
Right.
trick is, well, make sure that your wiring is well clear of the cam, because these wires are just held in the wee grommet, so it's very easy for them to pull through, get too long, and then just rub off everything. And that will end your good clean fun.
That'll end the car running completely.
very quick end to the good clean fun. They are keyed.
I can only go on
So
the
one circular, one square. Just so that you don't end up with a 180 degree
It goes in the square.
mismatch.
Like it's brand new.
Yeah, so that's again something you want to check. I've seen it before with these. You get reproduction rotor arms and the base of them's too deep. You tighten them down and then you lock up the advanced springs.
So the interesting thing about rotor caps, and you've seen me do this a number of times because I still like to dabble in old shite, is you can easily confuse yourself.
Yes, well the good thing with these ones is they're keyed. So you've got a kind of square on this side and then a slot on this side.
Yes.
So they can only go in one way.
But your plug leads can go
Yay,
on
plug leads
any
can go
number
on.
of ways.
Got new plugs as well, in case anyone's wondering. We're not missing changing the plugs. It's just we've already done it.
One by one, gently, softly wins the day. Take your time.
Or we can do it the way you've done the Land Rover.
Which was,
Pull them off.
well, no, I did them one by one. The problem with the Land Rover was it got bloody congested after a while. And then I was like, I've had enough of this.
It was quite funny that, to be fair.
Click, win. Right, so you reckon it just fires up now?
This will fire right up.
You think?
But-
You ain't got fire up?
The timing could be off because
You've buggered with things. Jesus. Like, barely a turn of the engine and she's right. Mint. Remember the thing that would give you no bother?
so
What
Is
of
it
all
the
of
cap?
those? What of all of those things have we just fucked?
is it the cap? Is it the points or is it the arm?
Place bets now.
I'm probably gonna say points. I'm gonna say those points are not as good as the AC Delta ones.
Okay.
But let's find out.
One nice smooth running Triumph engine.
So this is a classic example of old car parts. You buy brand new reproduction rotor arm, put it in the car, and it's arcing through the plastic. So a lot of times new isn't actually better.
No.
Electronic ignition is actually necessary, not because
It's better.
it's better, but actually because you can't get good quality replacement parts anymore. Now you look at that, that looks great, doesn't it?
There is literally no visible defects on
Doesn't
this
look like there's anything wrong with
whatsoever.
that.
But causes a
it's
misfire.
arcing through it.
So, are we naming and shaming?
No, we better not.
I don't give a fuck.
What we'll do is, we know the rotor arm's not the problem. Points are set absolutely fine, few points are good. Rotor arm's problem, cap, we'll try the new cap. Put the cap back on, see if it still runs fine. Cap might be okay, but we're going to keep the old cap just in case.
The one that I launched across.
Yeah, the one that you launched across the gap.
Oh dear. So the way you would think to start the car is not the way. Because I got in the car and I was like, I'll just start it. I'll just... Oh, the key must be funny. No, you need to go that way to start the car. Right then.
One is, check the timing for it, see how it is, and if it needs tweaked then we'll tweak it.
Okay.
1500 RPM, 7 to 11 degrees, 2400, 10 to 14, 3.5, 30 to 17.
Okay.
So as long as we're in the ballpark of like 8 to 10, 12, 15 as we go up. Getting closer to that 6. And we're pretty much bang on. We've only got 10. So throughout the board it looks like it's going to be an each band. But we'll get the last one. Last one 3.5, 13 to 17. So if we go, we'll go to 13. So we're going to 10 degrees. So throughout the board we're like 2 degrees, 3 degrees off.
Spanners.
Yeah, they're going to be fun.
Ah, could be fine.
I can't remember what size they are.
It's going to be 74 67th. What size is it?
It's a 7/16th, but this 7/16th spanner is not plain ball. So,
So maybe
So it probably won't be then.
aye,
no, it definitely is. It's just
maybe it's worn over the years. It's eroded.
So the timing's right, which is good because literally as soon as we've done it, the timing light died. So, you know, good quality parts.
So it's time good.
Car time good. Like, I don't know what the beef is with this, but the amount of frequency that we keep finding crap parts that break on you. Good quality parts, allegedly. Rotor arm, absolute garbage. And the retiming light, absolute garbage. Joy. And the thing about Daniel, unlike me, is he will actually buy good stuff. So the fact that the good stuff breaks is pretty crap, to be quite honest.
It's a bit annoying.
Yeah.
A bit annoying. It's getting worse.
It's definitely getting worse.
It's getting worse. It's becoming. Well, I don't even know if it's breaking it now, do I?
No, yeah, be gentle.
It's becoming a more common occurrence, sadly.
Yeah, also crap.
Yeah.
Oh well. 15,000. Feeler gauges.
Yes, I've got some here.
And is it a Skyline 15,000 plug gas?
I was going to beat you to it, and I thought, no, surely I'll let it go, but nah.
Skyline 15 thou.
Right, timing.
Right.
So,
Aye. Craig's apparently going to do it.
Craig's going to do the timing.
Boy loves the fucking camera. This is how you get Craig to go away. Look. There we go. Right, back on it.
Right, okay, here we go. So,